And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth. Centered around real estate, credit, finance, health, acupuncture, so much more. Over 80 show partners now with the Consumer Quarterback Show, and our number one goals always remain. We want to educate, we want to entertain, we want to enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage you in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, I want you to pull out your smartphone, save our Consumer Advocate Hotline in your phone, 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-917-1894. And we want you to bookmark our website, consumerqb.com, consumerqb.com. A plethora of resources available for you there. That's our website, blog site. You can watch our live stream show from consumerqb.com. Click the live stream. Also, you can see links to all of our expert contributors. Again, all the folks that we've assembled, we've vetted, and we put together to help you win no matter what you're facing out there. We don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We want to help you win. We want you to think of this show as the hub of your financial and business wheel. Each spoke extending out, representing another one of our preferred partners, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida that we've assembled and we've vetted to help you win no matter what you're facing. So I'm Brandon Rhymes. I'm your host. I'm also the owner of Platinum MVP Realty, published author of 2 books now. We've got our 2 books out on Amazon. Please go out and check them out. We'd love for you to buy a copy, leave us a nice review, and it's going to help you win no matter what you're looking at doing. Become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves. And it's have you ever wanted to own your own radio show but didn't know where to start? Then this book is for you. Utilize Brandon's proven methods for success and become the most valuable player in your industry by harnessing the power of the radio waves. So we're going to help you with that. And before we jump into this great content, I got a hot listing compliments of Will Hyder with Platinum MVP Realty. I've got 18399 Gulf Boulevard, number 394 in Indian Shores. A beautiful Gulf front, 1-bedroom, 1-bath, community pool, condo-tel property here, and it's furnished waterfront condo with intercoastal views of the waterway. $159,000. Think about that. You own a piece of paradise for $159,000 on the beach. What a great buying opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. All right, let's go around the horn here. Make our introductions. Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor, back in studio. Welcome back in.
Great to be here, Brandon. Thanks for having me back. Thanks for everyone who's paying attention today. And what we're going to talk about is what is a BEMER. We're talking a little bit about the history of that, the credibility of that. And right up front, I'm going to tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to make any claims that BEMER cures anything, and we're not going to suggest that people stop working with their doctors. Right. So with that, we're going to explain the value that BEMER brings to people's health, why everyone should have a BEMER, why it's safe for everyone, and as importantly, if you want to make this part of your portfolio of businesses that you develop, it's really easy. All you do is do what I'm doing right now, is share information about the BEMER and let people make a decision.
Love it, love it. Also back in studio, Dr. Ken Harris, Tampa Natural Care acupuncture therapist here in Tampa Bay. Welcome back in.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for having me back. It's always a lot of fun to be here. I think today we're going to talk about the rise in popularity of acupuncture in children, a little bit about what that encompasses. And then if we got some time, we'll talk about some of the mysteries of tongue diagnosis.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. I love it. Love it. And Michael Vogt was supposed to be here in studio. He had something come up, but Back In Health Massage is our sponsor for this segment, helping people with neck, back, shoulder, hip, and leg pain feel better. And he's located on Gun Highway in Tampa, the intersection that becomes Bush Boulevard, Gun Highway, and Dale Mabry. So he's voted top 10 massage services in Tampa Bay by the readers of the Tampa Bay Business Journal's Best in the Biz Awards is Michael Vogt. My massage therapist does a great job. Also, big shout out to the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. 24-hour, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Big shout out by the Maids, and they are referred for a reason. So we're back here in studio, live from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa, every Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's your most important hour on the radio, full of consumer advocate advice, tips, things to do, things to avoid, ways that you can live a better life. Also on the weekends, we have a show on 102.5 The Bone on the FM dial. Huge signal going all the way down to Fort Myers, Naples, all of our friends down in Hendry County as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into this great content. Steve, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, educating folks out there. A lot of concerns when it comes to health. And I think, one of the things we're going to talk about today is how sometimes it's a comprehensive approach when you talk about your health. So.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. So we're talking about BEMER. That's BEMER. It's not the car. It is a Class 1 medical device in the United States. It's actually Class 2 medical device in 42 other countries. And we're in the process of finalizing the application for Class 2 in the United States. What all that means is that Class 1 means that it's safe for everyone, including babies. And Class 1 also, with that meaning being safe for everyone, there is one exclusion, and that is the only exclusion is anyone who's had an organ transplant and is on immunosuppressant drugs. Okay. Because the BEMER strengthens the immune system, which would be the opposite intent for someone that's had an organ transplant.
Interesting.
Other than that, it's everyone can use it. We get the questions all the time where pacemakers and other devices that have been installed in the body by the medical profession, and yes, it is safe. So it's a really wonderful product, and it's a product that's manufactured in Liechtenstein, which is near Germany and Switzerland. And the interesting thing about that is that Liechtenstein has a population of about 35,000 people, and yet there's 145,000 corporations registered in Liechtenstein.
Wow.
Now, the reason for that, as you probably can guess, is that there's some tax advantages to doing that.
Okay.
So the tax advantages for BEMER being able to be manufactured there is it actually lowers our cost of production. Nice. So we have some analysis that said if it was produced in the United States or somewhere else outside of Liechtenstein, it could very well be 4, 5, 6 times the cost of what it is. So there's a real big advantages for the production in Liechtenstein. And we've been doing this, the BEMER company, which is the same name as the product, BEMER, which is a privately held company by the Gleim family, started BEMER 18 years ago.
Wow.
And they started that based on the development of a patented signal that was sold to them. And from that point forward, it was further developed and enhanced over the last 18 years. So the first BEMER, by the way, which was is actually still in use by a lot of people in Europe, was a device that you would use that would have an effective residual effect for an hour, which means that to get the continual effect, you would have to lay on it for an hour,
right.
Every hour. Okay, well, not very practical, but a lot of people did it, and
right.
they're still doing it. Okay, well, in about 2007, they advanced the signal, and you could have a residual effect of 4 hours. The latest BEMER, which came out in 2010, has 8 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes in the evening, because the residual effect, which is also cumulative, lasts 12 to 16 hours.
Wow.
Now, what's important about that is what we call the residual effect. So before I get into all of that in terms of how it works, I want to drop back for a second and make sure people get a visual picture in their head of what we're talking about.
Good idea.
Yep. So the BEMER, the main component of a BEMER, the two main components of a BEMER actually are a mat that's about 6'2" in length and maybe 2.5 feet wide. And so you lay on this mat 8 minutes in the morning and 8 minutes at night. That mat plugs into a specialized computer that is driven by electric current that we plug into the wall. That electric current, which is AC current, which is not good, is converted into DC current by the computer, and then the computer then converts that DC current into a highly sophisticated signal that's driven in through the mat, that's built with coils, and the coils are the delivery mechanism for the signal. Really interesting when you study the technology by this. Okay, so awesome. So the signal goes into the entire body, and what happens is that has a very significant positive influence on the circulation of the blood in our body. So that's extremely important. And I'm going to get in more detail about circulation because you need to understand circulation to understand the power of the BEMER.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
That's where we're at.
We're going to touch base on that as well in the next segment. And that's Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor, local here in Tampa Bay. And he's got some awesome opportunities from a business perspective as well as just home use as well. And we're going to talk with Dr. Ken Harris, Tampa Natural Care, South Tampa physician here, and helping folks with acupuncture. We're going to talk about how children can do it and how it's helping me as well. And I've been in Ken's office and, working on some of these old football injuries, right?
There you go.
But, so we're having a lot of fun here at iHeartRadio, and we're going to be back here in just a moment. Don't touch that dial. And also we're going to talk about how a $120 million home health deal could impact St. Petersburg's biggest hospital from the Tampa Bay Business Journal. So you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here. Real Estate Quarterback Show, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty, and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, featured in Top Agent Magazine just last week, 2-page spread, Top Agent Magazine, Florida Realtor Magazine multiple times, recognized for innovations with marketing, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. And a lot of positive momentum going on around the Quarterback Show here. We just also interviewed for a nationally televised TV show, fix and flip type of show that they want to do in a waterfront community. So we put together a team. We did an interview with the producers out in California via Skype. So we're just waiting on the word. A lot of positive things happening here around the show. This segment is brought to you by Electric Today. Big shout out to Electric Today. And electrical and air conditioning work in existing homes and businesses. For all of your electrical and air conditioning needs, call Electric Today. Service today without delay. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And check them out at consumerqb.com. That's our website. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, all of their contact information at consumerqb.com. Also, save our hotline number in your phone. It's 813-917-1894.
Welcome to my house.
Couple of hot listings, and this could be your house. 8156 Causeway Boulevard South in St. Petersburg, South Causeway Isle, 3-bedroom, 2-bath property on Treasure Island. It's on the beach, and it's a waterfront property here, wide canal views of Boca Ciega Bay. $640,000, great buying opportunity, 2,200 square feet, and you got direct bay access to the Gulf of Mexico, 125 feet of water frontage, new seawall, newer roof. Great property. Also got a commercial business buying opportunity here, a commercial structure rather, 700 St. Petersburg Drive West in Oldsmar. And this is attention any business owners out there. Maybe you're renting out there, throwing money away to your landlord. Why don't you buy this property? 700 St. Petersburg Drive West in Oldsmar, 1,400 square feet, but it's a corner lot, quarter acre. And you've got plenty of opportunity to put up signage on multiple corners, and it's only $290,000. $290,000. Great buying opportunity in beautiful Tampa Bay.
Somewhere sunny at 75.
All right, let's go ahead and jump right back into it. We were talking with Steve Pohlit, and independent BEMER distributor. And Steve, isn't this product utilized, if I can recall from some of the sports teams using it, and a lot of cool stuff happening with the product?
Well, there's a lot of very exciting things happening with the product, and particularly in the last 12, 14 months. The latest information that I have is that we have over 1,000 elite athletes using the product, and our projections are that within the next 2 to 3 years, every major sports team will be using the BEMER. And one of our most recent experiences, which was really very exciting, was called the RAM event. RAM was Race Across America.
Oh, cool.
And Race Across America started in California, and the guys biked from California all across the country, and I think ended up in Baltimore. And so what was interesting about that is the race team that won happened to be sponsored by BEMER, and the guys talked about. I met the guys in Orlando about a month ago, and there was 4 bikers that won the race. Now they didn't just win, okay? They won in 5.5 days, and the next team behind them was a day and a half later.
Wow.
Our team was 4 guys, and the second team was 8. Okay, so our team was off the charts with respect to what the BEMER did for them.
Wow.
Because what it does, because what happens with circulation, it warms up, helps to recover, and helps the sleep process.
Right.
So these guys were just really off the charts with what happened for them. So
Wow,
it was
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was very, very exciting. So BEMER, because it affects circulation, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, has a big impact on not only people that are maybe have some health challenges, but we always when someone says, "Well, I'm healthy, I don't need this product," and when they say, "Well, they're healthy," we say, "How do you know?"
Yeah.
Because the people that woke up this morning that had some sort of health condition went through all day yesterday thinking they were perfectly fine.
Exactly.
And so they think that this happens overnight. No, it doesn't. It starts developing at a much earlier time. Now, I don't know whether that's 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, or 10 years. But what happens is over time, as the blood is impacted adversely because of stress, toxins, chemicals, radiation from Wi-Fi's and cell phones, and all that sort of thing, which actually slows down the blood flow in what's called our capillary system, then our blood cells, which is 100 trillion blood cells, can't get the oxygen, nutrition, and water that they need. So this is why the BEMER is so powerful, because when you understand the capillary system, which is 72% of our body's circulation system, and end-to-end capillaries, which are really very, very thin, run 74,000 miles. So it's impossible for our heart to pump that blood through our capillary system. We actually have a second circulatory system in the body. And in a recent meeting with 7 cardiologists, when one of our experts was presenting the science behind the BEMER to them, they did not know some of the information I'm sharing with you about the capillary system. They did not know it.
Wow.
And why? You might say, well, why is that? Well, because there's no drug that affects the capillary system. So the drug companies do not sponsor education that teaches the doctors about this.
Right. Yeah.
Now that's changing.
We're in a society where it's it's
changing.
led by lobbyists. It's led by
Right.
the FDAs, and they're pushing certain products. And and then now it's it's even on commercials at different times of day. And some of them, I've got a daughter that's just around that 10-year-old age, and it's just it's kind of like. I'm just waiting for those questions to come. It's like, what are these about? And it's just ridiculous that we live in this society where they're pushing drugs, legal drug dealers.
So there's some bold statements that I'm going to make today, and one of them is when you understand the circulation system and understand how the BEMER signal influences that capillary system, particularly by more than 30%, we can boldly say that there's no other product device in the world that does what the BEMER does. And that means there's no competition. Yep. So from a business point of view, if you're involved with a business and a product that has tremendous influence in a positive way and there's no competition, that's a nice thing to take a look at.
That's interesting. Very cool.
Very interesting.
Let's go ahead and bring Dr. Ken Harris into the conversation, and I want to encourage some banter here as well as we go along. Dr. Ken Harris, Tampa Natural Care, acupuncture specialist here in Tampa Bay. What are you seeing out there?
Well, seeing a rise in popularity in children's acupuncture. I've been getting a lot of questions about it, and it's one of the specialties that I perform, and so I thought we'd kind of talk about that today. I think some of the rise in popularity is due to the fact that the parents themselves have received a lot of benefit from acupuncture in their own health, and they naturally want that for their own children. I think one of the other things driving it is concern about the side effects of Western meds. Parents are looking for gentler ways to treat their children.
Yep.
And then the overprescription of antibiotics and steroids for children, which have dramatic effects.
Right, yeah. Sarah Bingham's been on the show. She's our health, she's a dietitian and very much into health. And, she really talks a lot about some of the stuff that manufacturers are putting into our food. So, yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. I mean, I think consumers are more and more educated. We're getting smarter.
Which is a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what this goes. The goal of the show is all about. So so let's talk about acupuncture. And I think one of the things, the common misnomers is, oh, I'm scared of needles. The needles are very tiny. I mean, they're small.
The needles are more like a human hair or like a cat's whisker, and flexible.
Yep.
Actually brought a couple in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see these on camera or not. They're so small. This one would be for an adult.
Yep.
And then along with it, I'd also brought some pediatric needles.
Very cool.
But the best way to think about the pediatric needles is if you've had your blood drawn, the syringe that's used to draw that is generally 22 gauge.
Yep.
And in the hole of that, we can put 44 of the pediatric needles into the hole of that blood drawing syringe. So they're incredibly tiny, and children seem to respond to them very, very well.
Yeah, and it's one of these things too. It's one of these processes that you can't just do it one and done. I mean, you got to continue to go and see, to see the effects. Am I right?
It is. Acupuncture tends to build on itself. It's part of training the nervous system in the proper response and helping the body elicit that healing response that we all have. It's really an aid to the body. I might put the needles in, but it's the patient's own body that's a true miracle, because that's where the healing occurs.
Oh, absolutely. It's an amazing vehicle that we have to go through this life that we've been blessed with.
So, Brandon, before the show started, I was talking to Dr. Harris about acupuncture, and he actually has a couple clients that he does at the home that have BEMERs. Because I had mentioned to him that I had heard in our meetings that people that have acupuncture while they're on the BEMER, they summarize it this way.
That's
acupuncture
awesome.
on steroids.
Wow, that's awesome. Let's
very
jump
happy
into
with the
those.
results.
Let's definitely jump into that when we come back. Let's talk about the combination effect, because we talk a lot about that, is the synergistic effect that you have with health products, with working. You can even relate it to a financial side when you're talking about your financial health versus your physical health. When you have these synergistic processes in place, so that's going to be a great lead-in for our next segment. We're going to talk with Dr. Ken Harris, Tampa Natural Care, talking about acupuncture and how that can help you and your body and even your kids, as well as Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor, and a really awesome product that he's talking about here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and more from our expert contributors. So stay with us. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation. Visit Pasco County, Florida.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Ever need a doctor after hours? Well, searching won't help. But what do? You could go to the urgent care or ER, but if only there was a better way. Introducing the MNO Plus card. No waiting rooms, no copay, no consultation fee, giving you 24/7 access to a doctor by phone or online. It's easy to get started with affordable plans starting at $15 a month for a family of 5. For more information, visit mnoplus.com today.
Everyone's story is different, so why be limited to just one or two options? With Norcom's Norflex Home Loan, you're given the flexibility to tell your story. Pick your terms from 8 to 30 years, all while maintaining a low, fixed mortgage rate. You can pay off your loan more quickly or choose a term based on your budget and timeline. Whatever you do with the Norflex Home Loan, make it part of your financial plan. Norflex, short-term, long-term, your terms. Apply online at norcommortgage.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Brandon Rhymes, your host here. Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. And we got a cover property here on the Homes and Land magazine current issue. Cover property feature of Victor Alleman, Platinum MVP Realty. He's got an extraordinary waterfront opportunity here. Boater's Paradise, one of the few lots available with deep water access to the Gulf of Mexico. It's got a new dock and dual jet ski lift. A really cool property, heated pool, jacuzzi, and a pretty cool buying opportunity here on Marina Drive in Tarpon Springs. and it's all in the Homes and Land magazine as well. Reach out at our hotline, 813-917-1894. Any questions, comments, concerns, shoot us a call or a text to our hotline, 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
And we would love to help you by doing that, by engaging us. And our promise to you is that we're going to get back to you before our head hits the pillow. And let's go ahead and jump right back into this great content here. So we got Dr. Ken Harris in studio, Tampa Natural Care, acupuncturist, talking about how you can help your body recover utilizing its own natural healing ability with these very small needles, and also Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor. So it was pretty cool. Before the break, he talked about some of the pre-show interview here we were talking about, where you're talking about acupuncture on steroids by a combination of utilizing the BEMER products. So tell us what you guys heard.
Well, the question, lead it with a question for the doctor, because my understanding, and you're the expert, is that acupuncture really facilitates flow of energy.
It does, increases circulation. It's actually that the small micro trauma causes the body to respond and say, what's this going on? And it responds by increasing circulation, sending more blood, healing factors, and oxygen to that site, as well as mediating the nerve response at that location. And so that's how she works.
So the synergy totally makes sense to me, because knowing what the BEMER does, which is sending that signal into the body and further influencing the blood flow. And of course, as you mentioned, the blood flow results in cells getting more nutrition and oxygen and water. And as importantly, being able to eliminate waste.
Yes.
Okay. So in the business, and I don't know how else to say this, but we have 100 trillion cells taking 100 trillion poops every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
and you need that highly oxygenated blood to flow through the body.
So if that's blocked, if that's impaired, and we have a lot of things that impair that.
Yep.
Okay. That's where the BEMER comes in and starts offsetting all the things that we've done to impair that. So what we talk about in the business is that the pulse of the blood flow through the capillary system. If you think of a healthy 20-year-old person, okay, that pulse is about 3 to 5 times every minute, and by the time someone is 60 years old, that pulse can be as slow as once every 10 minutes. So with that slowdown, that's what results in our views of people that have problems with circulation, premature aging, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. If you just joined us, you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're talking with Dr. Ken Harris here in studio, Tampa Natural Care, as well as Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor. So, Doc, when we see the acupuncture, I'm noticing more and more folks are blending some of the Eastern medicine with the Western medicine. Are you kind of noticing that trend in your
That's actually
practice?
A good trend. We find that the medicines are stronger together than either one separately. And so, we hope that works out together well, because we want to promote wellness as well as healing illness.
Right.
So.
Yeah, promoting wellness. Now, what about herbs and utilizing herbs and vitamins and that type of a program with acupuncture?
Well, actually, in China, for example, when they're trained, you're either trained as an acupuncturist or as an herbalist. And here in America, they tend to combine the two, so your education combines both. But it's been my experience from treating all my patients that patients that receive both together do much better than either one alone, either acupuncture alone or herbal medicines alone.
Yeah, and so I want to think about like a personal, I played football many years, and it's funny, some of your injuries you get after playing real football, like I tore an ACL and I popped a hamstring playing flag football. It's one of those things. But so when we go in there, and I kind of told you, I lie on the table there. You put the needles in the hamstring. Talk us through that process. Talk us through what the strategy is.
Well, on that particular, if you're going to use yourself as a patient here, no HIPAA problems at all.
That's fine. That's fine.
For you, having shoulders pain, low back pain, and hip pain with some sciatic, using the needles distally along those channels provides a greater effect for that. So for like your low back pain, I'll actually wind up putting needles, as you know, down towards your little toe along that channel, bladder channel, and behind your knee along that. And I think a way of thinking about it is like the lights overhead here in the studio. If I wanted to turn them off, I could actually go up and take out the light bulb. But it's easier to go further along the channel, the electrical channel, and use a switch.
Right.
And so that's why I needle in some of the odd places that I do, because it has a stronger effect in the location where your pain is.
Right, and you're dealing with meridian lines in the body, and you know, my girlfriend does a lot of the pranic healing, and she's studying that, and she's gone to numerous different classes studying under masters of the, you know, the healing body, the energy of the body, and the chakras. So I think it has a lot to do with that as well.
It's true, and I think one of the interesting things as we see Western science and their studies on acupuncture, they're starting to see a greater alignment of dermatones and nerve innervations following along those lines. So like that spot behind the knee, yes, that's where a dermatome comes through that rotates up and towards the lower back. So you can kind of see how the Chinese were miraculous, and how did they build this science of Oriental medicine, knowing what they did now, and then we have Western science confirming that, and then the two working well together.
Yeah, very interesting when you think about that. You think back to, you know, whenever they were doing this stuff. I mean, there weren't obviously no internet. There was very
no
limited
X-rays,
books.
no MRIs.
Exactly. So is that kind of how your studies went when you were getting your doctoral, your you know, going through the process? I know it was you know, I'd like to talk about that because it's, you know, it's an extended period of time that you're learning this craft.
Yeah, it's a long time. I have my master's. I am going to do my doctoral in the future.
Yep.
But it's a 5-year program.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that people find fascinating about it is they understand that, yeah, you should be studying acupuncture and herbs, but actually easily a third of our training is in Western biomedicine, Western pathology and physiology, anatomy, Western drugs and X-rays, psychology even. And so we go through that in chemistry. So it's very compatible with Western medicine.
I think a lot of it too is the psychological side, the psychology
The
of
pain
it.
and psychology go together greatly.
But how so? How would you say that? What's an
Well,
example,
you know,
maybe?
pain can cause such tremendous change in the body. It can lead to depression, fatigue, loss of pleasure in life, because that becomes your sole focus, and then the sole focus of how you relieve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of it too is just the people. A lot of times they get stuck in this mentality of poor me, you know, poor, you know, and then they're not taking care of their body, and then it exacerbates the problem as they grow through life. If they go through life, you know, so that's why we want to encourage people to reach out. You know, go down, you know, meet with Dr. Ken Harris, Tampa Natural Care, and you know, get a consultation. Find out, you know, how he could potentially help you. And, you know, maybe ask him about some of his success stories.
Happy to meet anybody, have them come in for a few minutes, get their questions answered. That's one of the important things, you know, because this is a consumer show. People should be comfortable in getting their questions answered. And somebody can't make the time to answer a couple of questions, probably not somebody you want to deal with.
Exactly. Yeah, we've all seen that. We've all had that happen. The doctor comes in, boom, in and out, boom, boom, boom. You know, then I remember hearing a story about it. It might have been, you know, someone on the show, but, you know, a doctor that had made a certain prognosis? Okay, and then he asked him. He said, "Well, doc, did you take off the patient's shoes? How did you verify that? You didn't look at his feet, but you're saying this was part of it. You know." So my point is that they're just busy. They're rushing through their day, trying to see all their clients, and they're not really focused on the well-being of the client. In some cases, now granted, there's great doctors out there, I'm sure, but you know, you kind of see that though. You kind of see
that's
it
actually kind of like how I came to the medicine. I had an illness, and so I went to the Western doctor. I never did get to see the doctor. I saw the nurse practitioner and told him what's going on, and they wrote a prescription. I looked at it, and I recognized, said, "How long will I be on this?" And they said, "Oh, the rest of your life." And I said, "I don't think so." So I was home, and another few weeks go by, and I was lamenting to my wife, and she goes, "Hey, why don't you go see my acupuncturist?" And truthfully, I poo-pooed the idea.
Yeah.
I just said, "Yeah, it doesn't sound for me." But I didn't get any better. So I said, "If you'll make the appointment, I'll go." And I went, and oddly enough, the acupuncturist wound up being more Western and more investigative than the Western physician. They asked, "How old are you? Have you had these tests before? Well, let's get these tests, and we'll talk." And so came back, they had a solution. Then in a few weeks, it resolved. I've never had that come back again. And so that's what started me thinking that, maybe this is a path that I need to be on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's come back to that and talk more with Dr. Ken Harris, Tampa Natural Care, as well as Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And, I love it. A lot of great things happening in the health and with new technologies. Let's talk about some of the new technology discoveries and also maybe some success stories when we come back. So stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. And we are looking for a few sales associates, any real estate agents, anyone out there that might want to take a look at our team. We'd love to have you interview for that position, for that opportunity, as well as business owners out there. We're looking for a few business owners in select categories to come on air with us and be a consumer advocate in specific categories. So reach out at our hotline at 813-917-1894. Call or text that number. And also got a couple of hot listings here. 8211 Brent Street, unit number 838 in Port Richey, 2-bedroom, 2-bath property, Sand Pebble Point condo, just listed, elegantly designed 2-bedroom, 2-bath waterfront condo in Sand Pebble Point. 1,400 square foot of living space with unobstructed panoramic views of the Gulf of Mexico. It's a rare corner unit in Port Richey, $389,000, as well as 8203 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a commercial opportunity, corner lot, great opportunity for a business owner in downtown Riverview. 30 parking spaces, $599,000 for 8203 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview. Another great buying opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay.
No shoes, no
sure, and no problem.
All right, so we're back here in studio. Let's talk to Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor, and also Dr. Ken Harris here as well, acupuncturist. So yeah, let's tell a little bit more of the story there, Steve.
So we're talking about BEMER, B-E-M-E-R, not the car. It's the product of biotechnology, medical devices changing healthcare. Why are we able to say that so powerfully? Because we know what the BEMER is doing for the circulatory system in our body that's typically not addressed by pharmaceutical drugs, even nutraceuticals if the blood flow is impaired. So we're all about improving the blood flow in the whole body, including the capillary system.
Yep.
And the BEMER is the only device in the world that has a significant influence on the blood flow in the capillary system. Now, there's not just BEMER recognizes that, but there's another pretty well-known organization that recognizes that, and it's called NASA. NASA has a big problem with astronauts going in outer space and losing muscle mass.
Right.
Astronaut Kelly, who was up in space the longest, came back and actually had 45% loss of muscle mass and bone density and muscle mass, 45%. And how did they know that? Well, he happens to have a twin brother that they were able to measure what happened to him against his twin. Now, interestingly enough, when the first thing that NASA did when astronaut Kelly came back from space was put him on a BEMER.
Wow.
First thing.
Wow.
And in fact, some of the clinics that are now part of the BEMER independent distributor network that are really powerful clinics working with some of the most significant, with people with some of the significant health challenges, have one rule in their office: BEMER first, then everything else that we do follows.
Right.
So it's really powerful. So since it addresses circulation, I talked about NASA. I also don't want to forget some of our friendly furry friends. Animals love BEMER, which is interesting because when we look at companies who say they're competitors and you look at their disclosures as what you should not do, we see many of them say, don't let your animal on the device because of the way they're configured.
Wow.
Okay, we love our animals on our device, and we take the mat. We used to put the current technology. We take the mat that we lay on as humans and put that on the back of horses, so that's large animals.
Wow.
But now, because of NASA, we have a new device coming out. It's going to be shipped in December. That is for large animals, specifically for horses, and the power unit and the battery pack's built into the fabric. And the fabric is specifically designed to be friendly for animals, so easy to clean and all that sort of thing. So where that's headed, think about that. That's the next evolution of that fabric is wearables.
Wow.
So imagine having a hat, okay, with the BEMER technology in it.
Yeah.
And what are some of the problems that we have in the United States that are growing pretty significantly related to neurological issues? Okay.
Wow.
Now, again, BEMER's not curing anything. BEMER's influencing circulation. When you influence the circulation, the body performs the miracles.
Yeah.
The body's a miraculous creation.
Yep.
We're simply allowing the body to do what it's designed to do. And I got to tell you, I wish I could share a lot of those stories that I see, the people that I meet. They are absolutely incredible. Just last weekend, I spent 2 days in Tampa at what we call our BEMER Academy. And there's 140 people there. And out of 140 people, there was probably 100 that are already BEMER users and have BEMER stories. And these BEMER stories were, I've heard a lot, and I still go, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an amazing
it's totally
product.
incredible.
Seems like an amazing
Totally
product.
incredible.
And one of the key, common areas I see with Dr. Ken Harris here in studio, as well as Steve Pohlit on the Consumer Quarterback Show, is that, you're encouraging circulation with your product.
Yes.
You're encouraging circulation in the body to heal itself. So it's a very interesting combination.
Same goal. Same goal. Just complementary process.
Very much.
Very much. Very, very much so. It's very, very, very nice. So I want to just remind people of a couple of things. One is, there's a lot that I like to talk about that I cannot talk about. We don't have the time. If I could talk about them, so I encourage people, go to YouTube. Go to youtube.com, type in BEMER, and I guarantee you that was one of the first things that I did when I was introduced to BEMER.
Yep.
And at the time, I probably spent 15 to 24 hours looking at the videos on YouTube. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
So that was a big wow experience for me. So we encourage people. We have all the material. We have all the documentation, medical reports, science reports published on PubMed.gov and specifically their counterpart on the international circuit. And we want people to understand that what we're saying is completely backed up by research and by results, and we encourage everybody to do their
You know
due
what I
diligence.
think about as a a former USF football player, and you think about the competition that these guys are at nowadays. The NFL down to even high school. What if these universities were to invest in just a couple and just rotate all the 50 players through it? It's only 8 minutes.
It's only 8 minutes.
You know what I mean? That would be something to think about.
You know sports better than I do, but Arizona Diamondbacks, that's the football team, right?
Baseball.
Baseball?
Yep.
Okay.
They're
Absolutely all on the BEMER.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it for the investment.
And I know, I don't know the names, but there's 2 wide receivers from the Chicago Bears that are using the BEMER. And I know the story behind that and how they developed, and it's really, really exciting.
Very cool.
This is happening.
Awesome. Dr. Ken Harris, acupuncture specialist in Tampa Bay. Parting words of advice, consumer advocate tips?
I would say that you always want to be a partner with your physician. You're going to work together as a team. They're going to do their part, but you're often going to get homework assignments. It might be dietary, exercise, suggestions,
That's right.
maybe an herbal formula. It really benefits you to follow those instructions. It'll speed up your healing, but more importantly, that saves you time and money. So, you got to do your part too, not just a physician.
It's funny you mentioned that too. That's one of the things Michael Vogt talks about. Our massage therapist partner, my massage therapist, is he'll say, "Oh, you're not stretching, are you?" I said, "How do you know if I'm stretching or not?" "No, I'm stretching. I'm doing. I promise." I just and different people have those different body types to where stretching is more appropriate. Stretching is going to need to be done more often, especially pre-workout, post-workout, and even
preventative.
right before bedtime, I believe, as well is a good time to get that last stretch in. So so following the doctor's orders, right?
Yep.
All right, good stuff. Okay, so parting words of advice, Steve. Things to do, things to avoid for our listeners.
Google Paul St. John.
Yep.
Paul St. John is an expert in Clearwater, Florida. He's an international expert. He's our teacher. I invite everybody to join us Wednesday evenings at 6:30 at his clinic, where we have our product presentation. This is a product presentation, totally educational. We don't push, sell. It's none of that stuff. It's all educational. He's wonderful. So I encourage people to do their due diligence. I encourage people to understand. Contact me. I'm looking to grow my team. You want to understand the benefits of sharing information? I'd be delighted to show you that. It's an amazing business opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, I want to thank Dr. Ken Harris, Tampa Natural Care acupuncture specialist here, located in South Tampa. Go say hello to him, talk to him, sit down for him, let him share a little bit more about acupuncture and some of the effects on not only adults but children as well as Steve Pohlit, independent BEMER distributor here in studio as well. Many benefits and well described benefits as well today, Steve. So check them out as well. All of our expert contributors are listed on our website, consumerqb.com. And again, our hotline is 813-917-1894. And we would love to help you no matter what you're facing out there. We want you to, think of this show as your number one resource for all things consumer advocacy, business, finance, health. Very heavy on the real estate side, of course, investment opportunities. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Something as simple as taking some leftover food, taking it to that homeless person that you drive by on the way home from work, maybe even buying a cup of coffee or lunch for a man or woman that's serving our military or a police officer out there. And, let's try to be the force of good out there. All of our consumer advocate approach, all of our listeners out there, thanks to our team. And we are looking for a few real estate agents that might want to join our team, as well as specific business categories. So if you fit that mold and you want to be on air with us, give us a call on the hotline, 813-917-1894. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.